I sat on the train heading back to my hometown, staring through the streaked window at the passing scenery. In the distance, industrial smokestacks pierced the hazy gray sky, and thick black smoke curled like serpents. The air carried an indescribable metallic tang that seeped through the train's sealed compartments. As the train screeched into the station, the screeching grind of metal made me wince. The platform was sparsely populated, with a few passengers wearing heavy-duty gas masks, a scene straight out of a dystopian film. Dragging my suitcase behind me, I stepped off the platform, the once familiar city skyline barely visible through the toxic haze. The roadside plane trees were long dead, their skeletal branches clawing at the sky. Rotting leaves scattered the ground, emitting a musty stench. Distant, intermittent coughing broke the eerie silence, though no figures were visible. This city, my cherished hometown, now felt foreign and terrifying. In this heavily polluted city, a strange disease had silently taken root. The skies remained perpetually overcast, and the air reeked of chemicals. Returning to this long-abandoned home, I found the place unrecognizable. The streets were eerily deserted. The few hurried passers-by wore thick masks. Once bustling commercial streets were now desolate, their shop windows coated in layers of dust. Walking through the streets, each step filled me with dread. The dense gray fog dimmed the streetlights, adding a sinister glow to the bizarre scenery. I decided to stop by a nearby convenience store to pick up some essentials. As I pushed open the door, a shrill bell rang. Inside, the flickering fluorescent lights cast unsettling shadows across the shelves. Heading toward the counter with my items, I froze in horror. The cashier's skin was an unhealthy grayish blue, and sharp fangs peeked out from their lips. Even more disturbing, other customers seemed unfazed, as if this grotesque sight was entirely ordinary. Leaving the store, I tried to calm myself, but the surreal and haunting scenes outside became even more disturbing. At the corner noodle shop, a creature covered in dark green scales was expertly cooking noodles, its monstrous features blurred by rising steam. Diners with pointed ears or metallic sheen to their skin ate their meals as if everything was perfectly normal. Waiting for the bus, I spotted an unsteady vehicle approaching. Through the fogged windows, the driver's silhouette became clearer, a figure with pitch-black horns steering with an unsettling calm and expertise. This wasn't a nightmare, but a terrifying reality. My hometown had transformed into a city overrun by monsters, where these creatures carried on with the most mundane daily routines. I wandered aimlessly through the streets. The image of the fanged cashier haunted my thoughts. I wanted to return home, yet a deep-seated fear held me back. In my childhood memories, home was always a place of warmth and light. I couldn't bear the thought of it being tainted by this eerie city's grotesque aura. Summoning courage, I finally headed home. Darkness had completely fallen, and my footsteps echoed on the empty streets. Distant coughing and faint murmurs occasionally broke the silence. Shadows beneath streetlights seemed alive, whispering secrets of their own. Standing before my old family house, my trembling fingers inserted the key into the lock. The turning mechanism's click was unnaturally loud in the still night. As I opened the door, a heavy smell of medicine mixed with mildew hit me. The living room was dim, illuminated only by the ghostly glow of the TV. "Sam, is that you?" My father's raspy voice emerged from the darkness, almost unrecognizable. Groping for the light switch, I found it unresponsive. By the faint glow of the window, I saw my father curled up on the sofa, wrapped in heavy blankets. "Dad, why are you sitting in the dark?" I tried to approach, but he urgently stopped me. "Don't turn on the lights. Don't come closer." His voice trembled with fear. "We're not the same anymore." Just then, the clatter of falling utensils came from the kitchen. A familiar yet alien figure emerged. My mother. But her hands were no longer human. Dark red scales covered claws that shimmered ominously. I wanted to scream or cry, but no sound escaped my throat. Memories of our once happy family flashed before me, now shattered beyond recognition. Unable to stay at home, I stumbled out, tears clouding my sight. I needed someone to confide in. Xavier, my childhood best friend, lived just a street away. The foggy streets felt oppressive, the dim streetlights casting a surreal haze. Reaching Xavier's old apartment, I climbed to her familiar third-floor unit, the one with green plants always on the windowsill. But as I reached her door, pained groans came from inside. I knocked urgently, and her father opened the door. His face was lined with fish scale patterns, his glowing green eyes piercing the darkness. "Sam, you're just in time." His voice was hoarse and sorrowful. "Maybe you can convince Xavier." Rushing inside, I found Xavier curled on the sofa, frail and ghostly pale. On the table lay a piece of dark red meat, the same sinister flesh I'd seen at the store and noodle shop. "They want me to eat it," she murmured weakly. "But I can't. I don't want to become a monster." Her mother wept quietly nearby, silver scales glinting on her arms. The realization hit me. Her parents had embraced the transformation, but couldn't bear to watch their daughter wither away. As I tried to comfort her, Xavier began coughing violently. Blood seeped through her fingers, staining the floor crimson. Her parents exchanged a resigned glance and suddenly restrained her. "Forgive us, daughter," her father choked out. "We can't let you suffer any longer." I watched helplessly as they forced the meat into her mouth. Her screams of despair and pain echoed in my ears. As her skin turned bluish and her nails morphed into claws, I realized I had lost my last connection to normalcy. The curse of this city had claimed her too. Once Xavier's transformation was complete, her parents collapsed in tears. I sat frozen, watching the horrifying scene unfold. As she opened her glowing green eyes, her father shakily began explaining the city's grim history. Half a year ago, an environmental catastrophe struck this industrial city. Toxic emissions from factories caused a mysterious illness to spread, overwhelming hospitals. Amid the chaos, a man calling himself a savior appeared. He offered dark red meat, claiming it came from ancient creatures and could help humans adapt to the polluted environment. At first, the government resisted, Xavier's father recounted, but with a third of the population sick and no solutions, desperate patients secretly tried the meat. They survived, her mother continued, but at the cost of becoming what we are now. The monstrous residents were once ordinary people, forced to adapt to survive. After distributing the savior meat, the mysterious man vanished, leaving behind a cursed city. Hearing this truth chilled me to the core. My perspective on the city irrevocably changed. Every morning, familiar sounds drifted through the streets: bicycle bells, sizzling food from breakfast stalls, neighbors' greetings. Yet the beings producing these sounds were no longer human. This simple trip home had turned into my life's darkest turning point. As days passed, I began showing symptoms. At first, it was mild coughing and dizziness. But soon, breathing became agony, each inhale like needles piercing my lungs. Blood tinged my sputum, and exhaustion consumed me. My parents begged me to accept the transformation. Torn between survival and humanity, I resisted until the mirror reflected my pale, dying face. With their support, I finally consumed the fateful meat. The searing pain marked the end of my humanity, and I joined the ranks of this monstrous city. Life after the transformation was unexpectedly calm. My body healed, becoming stronger than ever. My parents found solace in my recovery, and Xavier gradually embraced her new identity. Together, we adapted. The government regulated meat distribution, ensuring timely treatment for the afflicted. New centers helped transformed citizens adjust. Children saw scales and claws as playful features, their laughter echoing across schoolyards. Sometimes I wondered about the mysterious savior. Was he punishing the city or giving us a second chance? The question lingered unanswered, but amidst the disaster, we retained love and hope, the essence of humanity. Looking out over the gray city skyline, I saw a new civilization emerging. Stripped of human appearance, we forged unity in adversity. This perhaps was destiny's ultimate gift.